Feeling awkward already. I got some vitamin water. Thanks, 50 cent.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Is it good?
It is pretty good.
I've never had that VW.
I went to Subway and they had it in the machine there, so they got it on tap.
What kind of a machine? Oh, like in the like the fountain?
In the fountain drink section.
Dude, you get the V water in a fountain?
That's what I'm talking about.
Dude, that's some first world shit right there.
Tell them you're getting the water and you go over there and you bang that thing out. That's what you do.
That's still another 5 years out for us down here. Maybe another 10 or 15 where I live.
Oh my God. You're bringing back
V water on
flashbacks.
tap.
There used to be a Subway in the airport there in Cabo. I remember going in there.
They're not there anymore.
But
you can get a good lot at the Starbucks.
Un pavo con queso.
Oh no, they're still in there. Subway's still in there. My bad. They are. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, man. Dude, we got to bang this one out, dude. It's Semana Santa, dude. I want to get down to the beach.
Word.
No, it's not a gaming day, man. It's a beach day. Sorry. Got to hit. Yeah. You know what's going on down at Cerritos.
It's the same time it was at the jam today. Yeah. I know where you're going with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to do some beach walking, get into the water. Chuck, we got something really important to talk about today because it hits us both deep in the heart. And I know it's probably going to really have is it going to affect your life, man? What's going on with Ark Survival Evolved? I know you've been really, really close and dear to Ark Survival Evolved lately, man.
It really has. It really will. And if it doesn't go my way, I think I'm going to make my own Ark.
You're going to make your own Ark, dude?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, welcome gamers, non-gamers, PvEers, PvPers, and even NPCs. This is a New Wave Gaming podcast. I'm Ovox.
And I'm ChukTomahawk.
Speaking of PvPers, dude, I bet people on the official servers are just, they want to go January 6th on Wildcard.
A little insurrection. I bet the PvE servers are worse because they've probably built more stuff. At least in PvP, you're probably getting raided every once in a while, and you're kind of used to losing stuff, to some degree. I'm sure there's some alpha tribes out there that haven't lost anything in a minute, but I imagine somebody PvE and thinking, they're going to run that for the rest of their life, and it's going bye-bye.
So, listeners, we're talking Ark today in this episode. This is an Ark episode. We have some stuff to get off our chests. Chuck wants to talk about Ark. And looks like we're kind of, we're not losing it anymore. It's not a lost cause anymore, right, Chuck? It was looking kind of grim there in the beginning. But long story short, fellow gamers, fellow PvPers, lots happening with Ark. And, really what it comes down to is it's going to get delayed hardcore. I think that's the main thing, is they just finally came out and were like, look, the truth is, and we all knew this, all of us Ark, like true Ark fans, and we've been playing it for a long time, or are just familiar with Wildcard. Why were we surprised?
Well, we've talked before about how it's almost like kind of just a meme at this point, that video games take forever to come out, and we've like sort of said, well, we'd rather them be good and functional rather than rush it, but at some point it gets ridiculous, and I don't know who's making.
Are these professionals or not? Like, there's a barrier of just reasonableness. There's got to be a threshold.
Yeah, they call it the road. They lay out a road map, and I used to make maps for the Forest Service, and I had to make them pretty accurately. Like I couldn't make it the way it used to be or the way I wanted it to be. It had to be accurate. So I went out there on the ground and got data and put it into a GIS system. It would seem that people that make video games would be able to estimate this fairly well after a while.
It's like You said the lake was 2 kilometers from where we needed the extraction point. I'm not
Yeah.
going on, Chuck.
Yeah. What's the coordinates of this parking lot?
What's up with these 10 clicks? Like hiking over here. No, yeah. I know what you're saying. So huge delay on Ark 2. And I mean, I don't think we need to get too technical into it. We can just break it all down and our feelings about all of this as Ark players. I've got almost 4,000 hours into that game. And I had a whole like Ark phase that was probably very unhealthy, to be quite honest. So huge delay and
we started at the same time. Yeah,
man, brutal.
Mine's
really sorry
at
about that, Chuck.
2,000
I
hours.
apologize,
Like so.
You're at 2,000 hours?
Yeah, and that's not
No shit.
not counting what I did on PC. So I would say I'm somewhere around, maybe 2,400 or something. It was humbling, because
It was.
I feel pretty knowledgeable about it at this point, and I think I'll mention something like that. I think I even challenged you to like Ark trivia at some point, and you're like, "Oh, you're gonna hate life," and I thought to myself, I don't think so. But when you
get into some Ark trivia,
yeah,
maybe.
but when I see like you've got almost double the time, like it's warranted.
Yeah. Yeah. So hard. This is a hard one. But long story short, game's been delayed a bunch, and we don't have to even go into the fact that there's been a lot of like mechanics change. We've talked about this in other episodes where they're basically changing the DNA of the game in Ark 2. Mm-hmm. Going to be third person exclusively, have more of a Souls vibe going. I think only primitive weapons, I think, was another thing I heard somewhere on the interwebs. So there wouldn't be any like tech and stuff like that. I think I heard that out there as well. So that was one thing, which was a big hitter for me. Like I was like, no bueno, no me gusta, But anyways, time goes on, delays, and I think what was the first thing that really got this like set off? It was a community crunch, I think. No, well, about 2 months ago they were confirming that Ark 1. Let me backtrack. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself here and of the breakdown. Behind the scenes here, we got to mention that all of this kind of revolves around the Unreal Engine. Mm-hmm. And the Unreal Engine that Ark Survival Evolved has been on versus Unreal Engine 5, which Ark 2 will be on. So we've got Ark 2 that's going to be coming out on the Unreal Engine 5. And what I didn't know that I found out with all of this after you sent me those videos and stuff, is that they wanted to, adapt Ark 1 over onto Unreal Engine 5 as well. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. But, obviously my first thought is, sweet, man, that'd be awesome. Can you imagine playing Ark on Unreal Engine 5, dude, on the PS5?
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be so sick.
It's good news.
I mean, do you remember just playing regular Ark on the Unreal Engine? I guess it's on the Unreal Engine 4. It must be. I haven't actually confirmed that, but it's got to be, right? Do you remember when we switched over to the PS5? The huge difference it was.
I do. I definitely do.
Dude, it was like playing a brand new game. It was like, wow, look at the frames, man. Look at the frames.
And the visuals were already breathtaking at times. Like I remember some of my first memories of Ark is like us being on Ragnarok and kind of being up on a high point and looking out, and just like admiring the view. And I think that game was one of the first times I've ever really done that in a game. And
where you're just like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, this is a video game, man.
So
headphones on, just like super in your zone, and like you experience that in a video game. It's sick, dude. You'd remember it. Absolutely.
Yeah, especially when you're experiencing it with someone else, because that's sort of the visual I remember having is us, being there. And I think maybe you were on an Argentavis and I was on a Pterodon, and it was, kind of looking at the back of us, looking at it, kind of from a 3D, third person sort of view. And it's a special memory. And so to think of that being better and those same views being upgraded, and the water looking more realistic, the foliage on the trees looking more realistic, the teeth of the wrecks looking more
down to the details, man. We're talking that Unreal Engine 5, man. Like we've seen stuff out there on YouTube, et cetera, of what it's capable of. So so we got that going on. That was cool. And then
Well, let's unpack that just a little bit more, because as I understand it, we got an announcement a few months ago that said that was going to happen, and it was going to be free, and that everything that we had going on was also going to be able to be saved, i.e. our bases and our dinos that we've tamed. We're going to be able to sort of port on over to Unreal Engine 5 and be in this new updated version of Ark that we were going to get for free.
Yeah, so I think the main 2 points there are the free part and the save data part.
Right.
Because behind that, and anyone that's played Ark will understand this, but anyone that hasn't played Ark, like, some people have just thousands of hours dumped into bases, into mutations of tames, of farming, building tribe and tribe relations in the game, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
We're talking like, and like, depending on what kind of person you are, even me, like I do really like when I boil it all down, I do come down to it's just a video game, and I can get past that, Mm-hmm. An example would be everything that we had on our recent server, and I kind of just fell off the map. You continued playing for a little bit, but when I boiled it all down, like I was like, I got other stuff I got to worry about right now, or I'm really enjoying this other game, so I could walk away from that, no big deal. But I know that there's tons of dedicated Ark players, man, that are just going to be like, when they really rely on that, like being able to transfer, they like just download the new updated version and life goes on. That was a little over 2 months ago as things were reported. Continue.
Well, the latest news is that it is not going to port over. Well, let me say, the news that we got earlier this week was that in August of this year, that the official servers were going to be shut down. So anyone that was still playing on official, all that stuff, all the thousands of hours that you're talking about, like, it's no longer going to be ported over. And, just when you're really starting to feel that wound really good, they added in the fact that you're going to have to pay for it. On top of that, once we get it over into Unreal Engine 5, we're going to change the name of it to Ark Ascended instead of Ark Survival Evolved. Ark Survival Ascended is going to cost you, I want to say, another $49 at that time. Plus,
they wanted to
DLC, each map set is going to be another $20.
Yeah, and part of a package deal with Ark 2. It wasn't like they weren't going to allow you to get one anymore.
Right.
Like not only did they say you don't get the update for free, which a lot of, I'd say most companies probably would just let you have it for free. It's a game you've already purchased. They're not building a new game from the ground up. They said you could have it for free, and then instead of jumping to what, like, the next level of screw youery to their fans and players would have been, we're going to charge you for it. But no, they went 2 levels up of screw youery and said, not only are we going to charge you for it, but you have to get it with Ark 2. It's a package deal. And the DLCs, $20 each more.
Yeah.
And Ark 2, dude, we haven't seen anything about Ark 2. Why would anyone do that? That's just and that's where, and we don't have to get into this, man, because it's technical and, stock market related with investors and bottom lines and the greed, all the greed that we see in these, freaking dirtbag like companies that do this to their, their fans and us, the gamers. it was just very clear and obvious. You know, they're just like, I don't remember which content creator said it, but they said something to the lines of I think it was Lieutenant, what's his channel name? Lieutenant Lightbeer? No, Lieutenant Buzz Lightbeer. That's the name of his channel. He was really doing some good coverage on this, but he was saying that they're always testing the limit of like how far they can push our buttons to like be able to keep us as a player base, but also get every penny out of us, every last dollar that they can. They're always testing that, and that when a company like Wildcard and Snail Games gets into this little tussle, and they see that we're obviously like reacting. I mean, we are right now with this conversation. Other companies like are really observant of that. Like they're watching. They're always seeing what the other companies are able to get away with or not get away with in terms of just pushing the envelope. Like, you know. And in this case, it seems like they pushed the envelope a little too far. And there's a whole bunch of like stock market like stuff going on behind the scenes with Snail that doesn't look good. You know, their game portfolio isn't very solid. Ark is kind of like everything they got, really. You know, when you look at the numbers and active players at peak hours on Steam, et cetera, and so on and so forth, you know. Yeah.
Not a good look.
Corporate greediness, bro.
I do feel like I can push back on that just a little bit, because one perspective I have is I remember video games in the 80s costing something very similar, like, you know, around $40. And they were also, you know, to their defense, they had to produce a cartridge most likely, and they had to you know, buy store shelf at wherever that game was being sold at. And, you know, there are several other costs that they don't have when they're just downloading it. And they also had to compete with games being sold like used, which they don't necessarily have to compete with as much anymore. But relatively speaking, the price of a new game has stayed the same while everything else has gone up. And the games have gotten loads better. Like, you could have paid $39.99 for Pac-Man on the Atari VCS system, the 2600. And what did you have? Like, besides a piece of crap? And like, even the developer said, like, this was my demo, and they released it, you know, and you know,
I don't think the times. I think the times are just so much different, man. That like I see where you're coming from, but like those things aren't factors anymore. Like there's no cartridge getting manufactured and sent out. You know, this stuff's all happening on the cloud, man. You know, and downloaded to your system. Like it.
They are,
I mean,
but
I don't.
They are, and I'll apply this throughout our conversation when we bring up the points of what they've talked about. But I imagine a world where they responded, like they sent that stuff out, and we saw all those videos, and they just said, okay, like we this isn't feasible. We can't do it for an affordable price, and we don't want to, you know, justify you, so we're not porting it to Unreal Engine 5, and we're not making Ark 2.
Yeah. Jeez, yin and yang, man.
You know, and I swear, like I could just see like somebody. Then they put up a GoFundMe or something, and like it raises like $1 million or something. Like, you know, it's like if we put that shoe back on the other foot, like it kind of is like, you know, we're biting the hand that feeds us. Like, they did make a game that pushes my buttons like no other game in the world. You know, like
why aren't they just sticking to the game plan, man? That's why it gets on my nerves so much, is because like I understand that there's larger forces at work and for the most case that I probably don't even comprehend. You know, those are levels of, you know, tech, design, computing, marketing, all that stuff. It's, you know, I'm sure there's so much to it that I just don't even get, but it still blows my mind, like when there's clearly something that they have that's so good. You know, maybe not in the very, very beginning when Ark very, very first release, it was very buggy. Kind of like No Man's Sky was very, very buggy and has become this amazing thing. You know, it's a game that started off buggy and became amazing. And anyone that's played it, well, not everyone or anyone, because, you know, we don't all like the same stuff, but there's a huge gaming community for Ark. It's, you know, I don't remember what their peak numbers are in a 24-hour cycle, but it's a lot of players. So again, going back, like it just blows my mind that they can't, if they can see that things are starting to like fall apart, or like there's been just really a really bad taste between the Ark community and the developers, et cetera, so on and so forth. Like, why don't they just fall back to what they know works? You know?
There you go.
Like and this happened. I felt this way also with DICE and Battlefield. Anyone that's played that and likes and enjoys Battlefield would probably maybe relate with me here, maybe not. It's all good. But like Battlefield 1, holy crap, dude, what a game. I love that game. There's moments in that game that are just like, it's in campaign and multiplayer, but there's like some campaign moments, dude. I remember you were talking about how you felt that Battlefield 2042 gave you some very cinematic, like movie-like experiences where you felt like you were actually like, you know, infantry walking alongside an Abrams, like on a, what do they call that? When they're, oh gosh, there's a name for it. I'm having a total brain fart. When they're doing a patrol. Okay, that's it, a patrol. You know, so same thing. When the first time I played Battlefield 1, especially the first time, dude, there's some moments in that game in the beginning there. The graphics are unreal. It's smooth. Everything's just, it's perfect. And then the online multiplayer, it's great. There's a couple of things that could, you know, be better, certainly. I play it on console, so cheating isn't as much of an issue like I've heard it is on PC. But dude, I love that game. So what in my mind is like this amazingly perfect, nearly perfect product, when Battlefield 5 was going to come out, I was naturally just going like, sweet, man, they're just going to lean on this proven product that they have and maybe just pimp it out a little bit more, do some tuning, some like just build on what they know is working, right? You just build on your strengths, I guess. And Battlefield 5 came out, man, and it was just no bueno, you know. Had a lot of issues. The Firestorm thing completely like failed. There's no player base there. They charged for it. They wanted to charge, or though they did charge for it in the beginning. And so that blew my mind. And then Battlefield 2042 came out, you know, train wreck in the beginning. So that blew my mind in the same way. Like, how come if like you can't just, like, you got something that's good, use it. Worst case scenario. Oh, sorry, I bumped the mic. Worst case scenario, go back and use what you know works and just build on it. And no, man, like these companies sometimes they gotta just drive it into the ground. Like, like, no, like, we hear you out there, community, but no, we will continue to ruin this thing that you love.
Well, you know, I think we've seen a pattern of that throughout video games. Like I mentioned that Pac-Man game, like that was all like the folks at Warner Brothers. I think the execs there at Warner Communications sort of pushed that out, and so when the bean counters get involved, and I think that's sort of a symptom of it getting as big as it is. You know, it's almost like a sort of a victim of its own success at that point. There are so many people that are super passionate about it, and the possibilities are large, and it's large amounts of money, and ultimately it ends up sort of in the stock market. You know, like you said, we can't necessarily analyze how all those things go, but it becomes different. It's not fun and games anymore. Like, even though we're making a game here, it's a business, and you know, they have to make sound business decisions, and I'm sure there's a window here of when people are really thirsty for it. Like, if it just goes away for a little bit, you know, we would move on to something else. And so, you know, I can see them wanting to sort of capitalize on it, especially the people that's their focus, you know, like the financial officers and things like that at these companies. Yeah. But it does hurt.
Dude, snail games, man. It's snail. That's what the That's what the tubers out there are saying. The
Everyone's
YouTubers,
putting it
gaming
on them,
YouTubers, they're
aren't
putting
they?
it on snail, man. And it just, to me, it just smells like the same thing that we talked about in one of our earlier episodes about, I think it was like about the Atari thing and the video game crash, and that just like, oh yeah, and with our boy from Atari, what was his name? Bushnell?
And Nolan Bushnell,
Yeah, like those guys were trying to keep it like, no, you guys, we got to update, we got to focus on the games and the gamers and making this product good. And then there was a whole nother like business marketing element, which was Bushnell's like boss or supervisor, remember that? Mm-hmm. And they were really just like, no, man, they were all like money focused. And there was this huge disconnect between the spirit of the product and the money-making mechanism. There's like a breakdown there, because what you were saying just now, I think kind of like that rings with me. Like the thing that's gonna make the investors the money is the product and the service, et cetera, right? And in this particular case with gaming, that's kind of like a symbiosis of their product and us. Like if we're not happy, I mean, I'm pumping way too much philosophy into this. It's just like they gotta keep us happy, man, or we're not gonna use the product. That's the bottom line, and they're just really messing that up. Like, it's that simple.
It's a fragile system because we have tons of other choices, and it does have a fairly unique product.
It's true.
I think the taming for me is what I think they do that I can't find elsewhere, and even I like maybe there's a little bit of that in No Man's Sky, but go.
It's so different.
Yeah. There's no challenge to it. There's no, there's like some tiny parts of the like a few other games have hit on it just a little bit, but you see how good it is when you go play those other things. And
dude, I'm worried that like we're gonna lose it. I'm worried that we're gonna lose it. Like,
I am too.
It's hard to say what's going to happen, but even if they go with... Oh, hold on. Before that, so they dropped all of those announcements on that community crunch. Bunch of videos came out. I mean, you sent me that one from Nooblitz, dude. He was pissed.
Yeah.
He's pissed, dude. He's big PO'd.
Yeah, he was heated.
I mean, he's like, I'm going to... He's like... Don't worry, I'll put on the no bullshit filter when I want you to know what they're really trying to say.
I'll use my years of gaming experience. He starts
reading the community crunch.
Yeah.
It's so funny, man. And I mean, because he's, his whole channel revolves around Ark.
Oh, yeah.
So we haven't even mentioned all the content creators that are going to get like, their world's going to change a little bit. Maybe. We'll see what happens. And, it is what it is for anyone that plays or has something going on with Ark. But yeah, I'm worried that even once they do the switch, are they going to be competent enough to do that? Capable enough to do that? Can you hear the rooster in the background, by the way?
No.
I hope not.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Anyone listening or perhaps watching, because, dude... The barrio's going off right now. It's Semana Santa, brother. Dude, I'm in PJs.
It's on like Donkey Kong.
Dude, I'm half PJ'd right now. I'm only wearing a shirt because you said you wanted to record this one on the vid.
That's right.
Oh, bro, it's on, man.
Nice.
As soon as this episode's over, man, I'm throwing on that SPF 50. You got you.
La Playa.
Going to buy some Pacificos.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, so that they dropped all of that, saying, yeah, you guys, we're going to just, we're not going to give it to you for free anymore. It's going to be delayed massively because we don't know how to use Unreal Engine 5, and we're only barely figuring this thing out. It's kind of what they were saying. And you're going to have to buy it full price, packaged with Ark 2, and it's going to be called Ark Ascended, and all of the official servers are gone, and your save data cannot transfer. Shit. A huge FU.
Hope you brought your Costco card because you're about to get dick in bulk. That's what they said.
A big chingus madre is what they said as we sit down here. Yeah, so that was a bit. Yeah. But what? Oh, man. And so that hit, and very, very recently, I think maybe like within 24 hours ago, they released another announcement saying basically that they heard all of our shouts and hollers and our anger, and they're going to release Ark Ascended now as an independent game. You don't have to buy it in package with Ark 2, but it's going to cost $60 or something like that. And it will include all of the DLCs, so you don't have to pay, another $20 per DLC. Thoughts?
I feel like that's a bad look. Like, it's almost like...
It's just like...
Yeah. Like, if I had doubts...
The screwing's a little bit less.
Well, I'm happy about the news that they gave out, but the fact that they bent to our wishes... like, is not a good look for me. I mean, I'm happy that they're listening to some degree, but
of course,
I feel like I don't know how.
Do you want them to give us the full effing?
Well, I mean, look in that camera you got there.
Like,
Do you see a game developer? Do you see a game developer on the other end of that camera that you're looking into?
You want them to stick to their guns.
I made a game one time on my Commodore 64 and it crashed. And I don't think I've ever tried since. So I would think they would know more than us. Just based on our passionate wants or whatever. This reminds me.
You're a wild card sympathizer.
I'm a simp for Wildcard. I can live with that. Well, okay. This happened. I'll do a quick analogy. In Tennessee football several years ago, we were looking for a new coach, and I forget who they even suggested. But once they suggested this coach, all of the Tennessee fans got on Facebook and were like, no, we can't have that coach. This is the end of the football. And oh, my God. And they listened to them.
This is the end of the football. The football is ending.
Yeah. And they bent to him and got someone else. And it wasn't like the person that we came up with as fans, really was any better. They lost. We lost for the next 10 years after that. Had 10 losing seasons in a row. And so, I think
but would that not have happened with the original coach? The one
it
that
could
they got
have,
booed
but
off?
it couldn't have gone any worse. It would have there would have had to been some crimes committed for it to gone any worse. And it's just a bad look. We got sort of now everyone looks at us as this horrible fan base, and people put videos up about I've never been treated like when a Florida fan comes up and tries to go to a home game, they'll put these videos up of people just wild in there, and we were throwing golf
Florida,
balls
man.
at the other coaches and things. It's just a bad look. And
I'd probably go live in Florida if I wasn't living here.
Yeah, I could see that. There's some nice beaches
there,
but similar climate. But yeah, it's like I say, I'm glad they're listening, and I think there should be a place for feedback. But you can't let the inmates run the asylum. They made Ark to begin with, and they should have some respect from us for that. They made an awesome ass game, and now that we're trying to look at what the future is going to be. How are we better than them to say what should be done?
Fucking sympathizing hard, dude.
Well,
got a little puffy there for a second, man. Gee, no, I'm just kidding.
Well,
we purchased it.
True.
That's why we purchased it. That's why it costs money.
I mean, you get a right to say at that point, but I think so the best argument we have is when they say they're shutting down the servers for what we've already paid for, when we were under the impression that it was going to continue on. But as far as somehow that giving me the right to say what I can wish all day what should be in Ark 2, but they need to be the ones that decide that. And if it works, okay, and if it doesn't, okay. I feel like as long as you're not taking anything away that you promised me to begin with when I paid for that initial game, then you do what you want with the sequel.
But they are, though.
True.
Well, yeah. Just kidding. I mean, they are, though. They're taking away everything. At least for anyone that has anything on the game now. So they are taking away stuff.
Yeah. So that's
and they're double charging you for it. They're taking it away. It's weird, dude, because they're taking it away, and then charging you again for it, or you walk away. So that's kind of like Indian giving. I think that's what they called that back in the when I was in elementary.
Back on the Oregon Trail, like
yeah, Southern Oregon, early '90s. Yeah, man, that's what they called that back then. You know, and you don't want to be the IG, you know?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Nobody wants to be the IG. So, okay, I got a question then. Mr. Pushing Back Man, sympathizer. I'm just kidding, dude. I'm just giving you a hard time. Dude, you were up on one cheek there for a second. I wasn't sure if you were about to, like, you know.
I'm going to load
or like
into
if
Ark.
you were trying to let a silent one go.
Over here.
Oh shit, dude! I went on last night to see like if there was even anyone online. It's like I'm gonna do a little field research right now, and I booted her up just to see like the unofficial servers and the official servers, what the numbers look like. I didn't really spot anything that caught me off guard. It kind of seemed low, but you know, not anything. It didn't really catch me off guard too much.
That's funny that you did that, because I went and started a new game. That was my reaction. I was like, man, I better enjoy this while it's still there.
Mine was delete this bitch, and I deleted it. Yeah, dude. I checked this. I checked the list and all the players on there. I was like, interesting. Okay, well, that's all I needed to know. And then I hit delete.
Oh my god.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, you got to boil it down to what it is sometimes, and that's coming from me, someone that also had my severe Ark addiction phase. You know, dude, I'm telling you, man, I put my time into that game, and I will always cherish the memories and the good times. But so yeah, let me go back. I wanted to ask you, especially after hearing that pushback. How would you like things to go forward from this moment onward in regard to Ark? What would you like to see the future hold for Ark in terms of what the developers are going to do and you know what we're going to get? Us, the common people, the civilians.
We get vaguer time frames because we just sort of begin to understand that these time frames are fairly vague. We get Ark 1 Survival Evolved ported over to Unreal Engine 5 for free. We get all the maps with that for free. And yeah, you do what you want with Ark 2. Whenever it comes out, I'll purchase it and I'll give it a day in court. You know, try it. If I don't like it, I won't. Buy
it, dude. You don't need to put down the You don't need to put down the. Well, you wouldn't put down a Benji for that, but you need to put down the dollars for that thing, dude. You can. There's videos for that. Just go hit up that game ranks before you buy, man.
Remember that most of the people that we're hearing complain and say those things are also going to purchase it. Like Nublitz is going to buy it. Like the only reason we know who Nublitz is because of this game. And if he doesn't realize that, then he's kind of like sort of biting the hand that feeds him.
He's going to bite the hand that feeds him because it feeds him, and he has to. You don't.
I don't have to, but I'm going to think I paid $39.99 for, beat 'em and eat 'em back in the day, and like I ain't
beat 'em and eat 'em, dude.
I ain't gonna.
Oh my god!
Because think about like
Beat 'em and
something
eat
else
'em.
I've done. Like let's just say, okay, I'm going to quit playing Ark and I'm going to take up snowboarding. Okay.
No, dude, you should take up the jits. We've talked about this.
Well,
Learn how to strangle people.
it isn't going to be as good of an example, but I can use your
Okay.
example.
No,
Like,
okay. I didn't realize you were. Yeah, no, go ahead.
But let's just say, like, I do decide to do jiu-jitsu or whatever, okay? So, then I'm going to have to go get one of them fancy coats or whatever that you go wrestling around in. Like what is that thing called? The gi or what?
gi.
Your chi
Yeah, the
or
gi.
whatever. Yeah.
Gi.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they
But
probably.
sometimes there's no gi.
Well,
Depends on your.
and
the
I'm going
school
to
you
need
go
one
to.
in like 3-4 XL, so I'm sure that's going to be probably double the cost of the one you got. So, and it's going to be hard to find. I'll have to track that thing down, and then I'm going to have to go and I'm going to have to hire an instructor, and I'm going to pay that on a monthly, weekly basis or something like that. I'm going to have to travel back and forth to there. I'm probably going to have some injuries. I'm going to have to pay for healing up or something. And my point being, like if I did that with snowboarding and I said, like, okay, I'm going to buy this $1,200 snowboard. I'm going to go to the ski mountain. I'm going to pay $40 each time I go. I'm going to have to get a whole set of clothes to do it, like a jacket, some gloves, and some goggles, and just any number of other things. And I'm probably going to get, maybe 100 hours of enjoyment out of it this year if I'm lucky. And I'll travel to the ski resorts here in Western North Carolina or something like that. And if I pay $40 for that Ark game, like that first one, I've probably, with all the downloadable content and everything, I probably have $100 into it now. I've got 2,000 hours of entertainment that I've gotten out of that. Like, I mean, you're talking like 20 cents an hour or something versus in the other examples, like it's a lot of money. And I just feel like we've lost sort of perspective on of what we're getting for our money, because there's plenty of other options out there, and we're used to getting a lot for our money at this point.
Yeah, that's a valid observation, I think. When you compare it to other forms of entertainment and the costs for those forms of entertainment, that's valid. Valid point, Chuck. Hey, man.
Yeah. So, I think, like, go back and, like, find, like, the old Circuit City ads and things from the 80s and early 90s and look at the prices of those TVs that were 27 inches. Like, those TVs are, like, $800 to $1,000. And now we get a TV that is, like, twice that size, is also a computer, and does, like, 15 other things, like, 10 times better. Yeah. And it's also cheaper. Like, so, I feel like we're losing perspective a little bit and not giving them the benefit of the doubt that they deserve, because they made an awesome game in the beginning. And for us to expect them to still sort of have that indie spirit and do the things that indie game developers do, it's not possible at this point. Like, it's going to be a big deal. How they move forward from here. You can't do that twice. I mean, you think about...
Yeah, dude. I get it, and I feel you. I really do. But I'd stand shoulder to shoulder with you on that argument to say more if they hadn't already, like, dirtied the water in the way that they did. There was, like, just the way, first it's free, 2 months later it's no longer free, and you're not going to get any save data. You're not going to, I don't know. It's hard for me to say, like, because I really do see what you're saying there. I really do.
Well, and what you're saying goes back to my, kind of how I felt earlier. I'm agreeing with you. I wish they'd just make a roadmap and stick with it and say, like, we're driving
complete
here.
Honest, like, hey, like, straight up, guys, we're gonna, like, they should have just out of the gate been like, we're not gonna give you an estimated date for Ark 2. Just know that we're working on it. It's coming. It's our priority one. We got a lot of we've got a lot of a lot of work to do in figuring out and beginning to understand the full capabilities of the Unreal Engine 5 to give you the best dang thing, and just count on that, guys. And we don't want, and like, just be straight up, like, we're not giving you a date because we don't want to fail you like we, have before or whatever. And yeah, some people will be like, they'll have higher expectations or what on that, but that transparency and honesty would have rang really nicely, I think, with a lot of people. Like, that would have been cool with me. Like, I had no rush, because for me, they lost me way back before, dude. They lost me with the whole third person only, back when the DNA was changing. So all of this stuff now coming out, I'm really just going to sit back, relax, and see what happens. That's kind of my attitude right now,
Yeah, I think that's a healthy attitude to have towards it. And I'll probably do something similar. I think it is important to remember that they didn't say they were shutting the unofficial servers down. Like, and we don't play on official servers. Like, I'm not sure I could talk you into doing it, even if I wanted to. Like, it'd be
no.
You got to be like a
servers, dude. There's only a couple masochists left on those damn.
So yeah,
God, dude,
those people are nuts anyway.
Servers?
Like,
dude, imagine the alpha bases in some of these official servers, dude. There's massive tribes, man. I don't know if you've ever like done a little like digging on like the official server alpha tribes and just how big they are, and their tribe counts, and how they have entire factions of like peon worker slaves, dude, of just players that just, dude, like, I'm talking ridiculous size and quantity of shit and tames and tribe members, just massive inner server battles, dude. Ark is something else. But I gotta just, like, I can't imagine like being like the leadership of an alpha tribe, like, or like, there's always been like top tribes, dude, on the official servers. Like, I think one of the when I was really, really addicted in playing, I think the main tribe that was really just like their name was everywhere. They were the alphas of across multiple servers, was Space Cowboys. That was the name of their tribe. And whenever like, massive tribes, dude. So I just can't, like, if you're the leadership of one of these things and you get the news that as of August it's over, it's like, fuck, man. Fuck. What's happening right now, dude? And I bet there's just a whole bunch of shit going down. I bet some of them are completely breaking down. Some of them are probably just entirely deleting their bases so that no one else gets them or raids them. I bet there's a lot of like inciting going down where like the underlings of a tribe are like, insurrecting or whatever, going in complete like, fuck it, it's all going to hell. Storm the castle, kill the tames, fuck out. Freaking, I bet there's a lot of C4 going off right now in the Ark world. Lots of C4 going off, man. Rockets are getting pumped out, dude. Bullets are getting crafted. Shit's going down, dude. It'd almost be fun just to sign in, just to watch, just fly around on PTs and watching shit go down.
It is like almost absurd to think about, what that would be like. I think, because I can't even imagine what it would be like to play on that server, because we talk about how much time the game takes, and just imagine, if you're trying to get a start and on official, and you need to get some chitin to get that pterodon saddle made, and I think I started that yesterday, and by the end of the day, the server was super boosted. Like, I could have pretty much had anything I want, had a dragon by the end of the day or whatever. And yeah. I mean, you're talking what, like how fast do you think it would take you to get to a dragon on official servers? Like, just on
official?
Yeah.
And nobody raids me?
Yeah. Like we're talking months at least, right?
No, not months. If it's just me alone,
and it's
Well, I got to be honest with you, Chuck. If it was just me alone playing solo, no tribes, with my work schedule and real life and everything, yeah, it could take me like a month. Maybe, but if I just hit it and did it hard, maybe a couple of days. But that's because I would probably try using techniques that I know and I've learned over the years of playing Ark, man. Like,
right,
you know, like same with you, like. But that's just because we've played it so much that we've learned all of those strategies, which is great, man. It's part. Man, it's part of a. I'm torn a little bit because it's a game that I don't want to go away because I love Ark, man, and even though I can easily walk away from it, I just as easily walk back to it and spend months playing it, like we did recently, that last swing, you know, we were on there religiously for a while, putting in hours. And I it's a game that is in my top favorites forever. And I always want it to be there so that I can always play it. And that's why I'm a little like, maybe I'm a little, even though I'm sitting back, relaxing, we'll see what happens. I only feel that way now because a couple of hours ago, we got that latest release that it's still going to be available in some form. Yeah. So that kind of makes me happy. But when I saw Nublit's video, what was the first thing I wrote back to you?
Let's talk about this.
No, before that. What did I say? What was literally the first thing I responded? You can look on your phone.
I'm doing some video on it right now, so it's hard to.
Oh, that's right. Here, let me pull it up real quick. Because this is Chuck sent me this, and it's before they had announced that they had seen that everyone was mad and that they decided that they'll still sell Ark 1 as an independent game. Before that is when they were saying, we're not going to release it as an independent game. It's going to cost a whole bunch of money, and you have to get Ark 2 with it in a bundle, and then you still have to get all the DLCs. And then they were going to end all everything that he mentioned in that video. I saw all that, and then what was it I wrote, Chuck? Here it is. I wrote, dude, that's fucked. Let's talk about that tomorrow.
It is fucked. It is. I think partially, like, I really respect Nublitz, like, just from like his educational videos and tutorial videos that I've used, and so to hear what he's saying and how he backed it up and how he sort of was also at the same time saying "I told you so" in a roundabout way of he predicted this. Like, I can't help but feel like there's a lot of truth right there to what he said, and it doesn't look good. And I think that's one of the reasons I point out that, like, just imagine if it wasn't coming at all, like if that was the news, and how you would feel different, and how you would, maybe be a little more supportive of the people that are trying to make something happen.
Well, if it didn't come out at all, I wouldn't really care as long as we still have Ark 1, because it's something that we bought and paid for, man. It's a product that we bought. If they were to not release Ark 2, that's fine. If they were to say we're taking Ark 1 away or something, like, they couldn't do that. I mean, I don't know if they could or could not. I'm sure Sony PlayStation can take anything off the console they want. But that's another thing. Ark Wildcard has all of these distributors and agreements in place with PlayStation, with Steam, Xbox, and so on and so forth. And they also have obligations with these people to, hey, we're putting this product out on our platform here, and they're buying it. Don't screw us either. We're the ones putting this out there. You can't sell someone, like, when you bought that microphone that we're recording these podcasts with, they can't go back and say, hey, Chuck, can you give that back to us, please? Well, what do you? No. No, you have to. Here, hand it over. Mm-hmm. Well, no, hand it over, Chuck. No, see, you can't. It's not going to happen.
No.
So it's the same with the game, right? Like, so no, I'd be fine with it, man. The only thing that would suck is that if they were to give up on Ark in that way, they'd also probably give up, as they're going to, all support for Ark as we know it today. So the game would eventually just bug out, you know? They wouldn't be getting any updates. It wouldn't be getting any cleanups or whatever it is that they do to keep games running smoothly. You know, just purging the garbage or whatever in these games to keep them going. Like, they probably wouldn't do that anymore either. So Ark would probably end up just, you know, breaking down over time, losing player base. Who knows?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you finished or if I let you finish. Maybe you did finish, but how would you see Ark's future? You'd have them release Ark 1 again on Unreal Engine 5, no cost, all expansions included, and then Ark 2 to come out whenever they can get it out, as long as it's good. That's kind of how you...
Yeah, I almost think we separate those two ideas altogether, because that seems to be where things got muddy here. It's almost like, I bet when they first started thinking of Ark 2, they thought they would probably have it done before Unreal Engine 5 came out and didn't really foresee all of this, and probably thought, you know, I would say the pandemic probably had some effect and slowed them down. And now all of these things are kind of like happening at once, where we've got a new game development engine that they're having to learn. We're talking about porting Ark 1 over to it, and we're talking about developing a new game, which just seems like a lot to be juggling to me. I'm kind of like what I'm kind of being reminded of, and what you're reminding me of and making me think of, is that we had something great, and so why jeopardize it at all for something that we don't know how it's going to be? We already know that it's going to be vastly different with the Soul style combat and, you know, the other things that people have complained about, what they've heard about it, and you know, Vin Diesel's in the picture. I mean, for goodness sake, it's different, you know, so let's just think of it as different, you know. I mean, all we know is it's another dinosaur game, and and
it's gonna suck because they changed the DNA.
Well, I mean,
just so I don't lose my train of thought. But again, like, yes, agreed. Why, like, after such a big win, if you take an L, you gotta be mindful of that. If you take another L, be like, okay, maybe we're doing something wrong. If you take another loss, another L, dude, go back to what you know works. Don't keep jacking it up, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like at this point, like, say you had a famous musician or something, like when Michael Jackson put out Thriller, and then he put out another album that really sucked right after it. You'd be better off if he never did that second album. Like, you know, it's like it's going to take away from Thriller almost at some point, and so yeah, it kind of. It's a very risky thing. This kind of reminds me of how movies have become, where you don't really see them take a lot of chances on, like, spending millions of dollars to make a just off the wall new movie. It kind of is either a sequel or it's this large, you know, superhero franchise that we're working with, and it really needs to be a guarantee for them to put that money out there. And it's almost like the water has gotten fairly muddy. They're trying to juggle too many balls, and when I see that they're basically taking our advice from it, it tells me that it's chaos over there.
What would you tell management, dude? Day one, CEO, Wildcard, you're walking in. You're also the director of development. What are you going there and, like, what kind of ass whoopings are you laying down? Like, look, motherfucker.
I don't think that's where I start. I start by shaking the hands and saying thank you for making, like, the funnest video game I ever played in my life. And
such a sympathizer.
Yeah. I mean, if I was like a famous programmer, or I had a degree in computer science or something like that, like you know, or had a leg to stand on as far as my knowledge of it, like, I might go that route you're talking about. But
I admire that you're walking down to engineering and shaking the hands of the ladies and gentlemen that put the amazing game together. I get that, but what are you doing when you walk down to the marketing and managerial section of the building? Go, what the fuck is going on in here, you guys? Who's in charge of this motherfucker? what the? Who? You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, agreed. Yeah, I'm with you. I definitely would dish out some thank yous, some huge thank yous with all capital letters. Especially to the person that thought of the cryopod, no doubt. But when you get down to that marketing, the decision part of the whole deal, I'd definitely be like, guys, see, you got this thing over here that's, essentially perfect. Just a couple of tweaks, fix the bow and arrow, fix the blue screening, but otherwise perfect. Why not keep that going and just build on it? But I'm also simplifying it too much. Like the Unreal Engine 5 thing is, I'm counting on that truly is a huge real factor as they say it is in their statements.
True.
And I'm cool with that. And that's kind of where I just fall back to. It would have been nice if they had just been like, look, from day one, we don't know what we're getting into. We're not going to make any assumptions. We don't want to come back and, So I also value their honesty. I value that they are listening and got back out. I don't think they should charge for it, but it would have been cool if they had been just more transparent from day one. Or just more mindful and open about it. Like, we really don't know what it's going to take to create this new game on the Unreal Engine 5, let alone bring Ark 1 over onto it, calling it Ark Ascended. But we're going to get it out to you guys. Just be patient. And in the meantime, we're going to keep Ark 1 running smoothly and nice and, just keep it supported while you guys are waiting. Perfect. Perfecto.
Those pillars, like I think that what we have now, the status quo, should be solid before we move anywhere else. I feel like, and that would be great news if they were to say that, like, we're not taking away anything that you have. It's going to be the way it is, and we're going to move forward from there. Would be a great start. But I think to kind of answer your question, what I would say to the marketing department, I think I would remind them that, hey, like, you've got something magical here, and like, don't lose sight of that. And
yeah, and it wouldn't fix all the problems either. It wouldn't fix all the problems, but it would be a better path, better steps to take than kind of the way things have been going. Because no matter what, the way I'm understanding it is that they're not going to be able to transfer the existing assets, like all of the bases that exist, the tames that exist, all the work that people have done up to this point. Upon creating Ark 1, I'm just going to call it Ark 1 for now. I've been kind of doing that, but Ark 1 or Ark Survival Evolved. Apparently what they're getting at is that transferring it over to Unreal Engine 5 is a lot more than what they had kind of like foreseen, and that they're not actually able to really deliver a solid Ark 1, taking advantage of all of the capabilities of Unreal Engine 5. If they want to do it like that and really give us everything, they can't bring over all the stuff. That's what they're saying. Mm-hmm. They're like, if you guys want, like, we want to give you the best Ark 1 on Unreal Engine 5 we can, but to do that, we're not going to be able to bring over the official servers, bring over all your stuff. It all has to be eliminated. We have to start from scratch, if you will, in that regard. So that's not going to change, at least the way I'm understanding it. But even if they just said, hey, we're going to keep Ark 1 going the way it is now on your current consoles and everything, we're just going to keep supporting it, keep it updated and clean, for lack of a better word. And we're going to be working on Ark Ascended, which is effectively Ark 1, but revamped as they described it, to the extent that they can't transfer stuff. They're going to just redo it, full facelift, full tune-up, and then great. And then when that tuned-up version for Unreal Engine 5 is ready, they can be like, okay, guys, look, it's time, and we gotta bring you over, and we're sorry. Say goodbye to your shit. Build a bunch of graves. Kill the tames. Get the shotguns going. raid everyone. Get after it. Get some or something.
Yeah, because you know that day's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah, and then that way at that point, it's kind of an easy jump for. Sorry, I bumped the mic again. It's an easy jump for everyone.
Yeah, it's a more gentle.
Yeah.
Like easing into it and warning, because it can't last forever, and whenever it happens, the people that have put thousands of hours into it are going to be hurt no matter what, and it is kind of part of the game. Like, yeah,
dude,
I don't know how many times you've had to remind me, like, hey, don't get attached to that. Like, and
hey man, I really know you like that giant squid. Get it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've changed my play style, like knowing those things. Like, I used to get like nice armor and things, and I would keep it hidden in this little vault somewhere, and like waiting for that day I was going to use it, and then it would ultimately get stolen or raided.
And even when we're full raid mode, like, you'll still like, nah, I don't need to use that armor yet.
You can wait. That 1400 one, I don't wait on that one. Like, picture day for that one. Like,
yeah, exactly. Hey, can you guys stop raiding us for a second? Come stand in the picture. We want to get you in the picture. This is our first raid. Hey, Chuck, can you bring out the Ascended armor? It's for the picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, continue the raid. Continue.
So I think you've always got to keep that in the back of your mind, especially on PvP servers. And yeah, there's a lot of. It's amazing too what I feel. Like, that attitude that I have, like, where I say, like, who am I to say? Like, that's not how most people feel these days. It amazes me, the opinions that people have, like, on social media, and how quickly people are to talk about what they feel is best when, they have no knowledge of what they're talking about. And, I've watched that, like, say, news articles would come up about prescribed burning or something we would do in the Forest Service, and just people right off the couch, kind of like, well, you need to do this. This is what's best for the forest.
You know what you should do?
Yeah. And you're like,
you know what I would do?
Yeah, and you're just kind of like, oh, well, who is that?
You know what I would do?
Is that Gifford Pinchot over there? Or
watching you know what I would do while I'm watching A&E?
Yeah. Well, their username is like, Dogwater 369 or something, it's like, well, it's like, I could listen to the Secretary of Agriculture or
a Redditor.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's true, man. People have opinions, and hey, we're here too, but and that's fair. It's fair to have opinions, it's inevitable not to, but I think our opinions kind of coming from the place of, at least mine's, I don't want to speak for you, Chuck, but mine's coming from the place of what would seem fair and reasonable and logical in my mind as a course to take from here onward. I think Ark 1, when they update it and re-release it, I'm not worried about and this is, again, my very personal own view. I'm not worried about the official servers thing. I know a lot of other people will be. But what seems logical, reasonable, and fair to me is for them to release it for free for the people that have already purchased it. Because it's the same game. It's the same gaming experience. Technology advances. That's just a reality. But the product, like the actual game, is the same, man. Like it's not gonna be a new game with new assets and new content. It's gonna be Ark 1 with a new name. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it won't be. But based off the information I have now, it looks like it's going to be. So, what seems logical in regard to Ark 1 is that they just release it for free to people that already own it, like us. Mm-hmm. And I'm not gonna lie either. Like, as stiff-chinned as I want to be, like, when I see Ark Ascended on the Unreal Engine 5 and how amazing it looks, even if it costs $60, I might pull the trigger on there, or I'll, get the first discount or something like that. I love Ark, man. I love Ark. And then with Ark 2, I don't feel the same about Ark 2 as I used to. I think my Ark life and my Ark experience on this planet began and will end with Ark 1. May that be the original or the Ascended version, whatever. Because I'm not pumped on Ark 2 the way it's been kind of laid out in terms of its mechanics and how it'll work and everything. So, but just looking at it from the consumer perspective, I think what makes sense is for them just to be honest with the community about the timeline, and everything else. Like, if they're just to be honest, like, hey, look, we're working on this thing. We want to make it as best as possible. And, you know, at this point, they've kind of already said that it's going to be the end of 2024 when Ark 2 will be coming out. That's a ways out. And I think if they go back and retract that and try to say, you know what, we take that back, we're just not going to give you a timeline, that would look really bad too at this point. So I think at this point, you know, I don't know what they're going to do, but I would, if I was in their shoes, I would just not release any more statements for the time being. Maybe give it a little cushion of time frame for people to relax and let all the steam come out, and, you know, and then I'd wait for the appropriate time to just be like, look, you know, if the game's getting advancing, great. You know, they can release any statements they need to that are accurate. But if things are still kind of like, who knows? Just be honest about it. Like, we got Engine 5 running. We're working on it. Everyone's fully dug in and doing a great job, or whatever the case may be. You know, but we're not going to give you guys a timeline. It's coming. Don't worry, and it'll be great. Because that's all they can do, man. There's literally nothing out there for us to be excited about.
I almost at this point, and especially as we're hashing this out, I'm starting to feel like I'd be happier if we just took Ark 2 off the table, like, indefinitely, and we really focused on what we have and getting it over to Unreal Engine 5 and making it the best it could be, and, you know, moving forward from there. But
yeah, but they'd have to charge money, dude. Then they'd have to charge for it, because think about it from the business perspective. They've got to have a money-making angle here somewhere. So if they took Ark 2 off the table completely while still offering Ark Ascended for free, even though they're not going to do that, but in our ideal world, like, you know, they couldn't do that. They'd still have to charge for Ark Ascended the $60 then, especially if they were to say, we're taking Ark 2 off the table indefinitely to work on it, but we're going to make Ark Ascended the most badass thing you've ever played, but we're going to have to charge you because we got to make some money somewhere.
And maybe they, you know, lower that price. Like, it's $20 to get that first deal, and maybe, you know, $20 for each additional expansion pack or something that
No, dude, that would suck, man. Why? No. It cannot happen like that, dude.
Well, if ultimately, like, I was going to pay 60 and I paid less or something, like I think that would be a compromise. But something that's kind of coming to my mind right here is I think we're seeing like a failure of leadership, because like when we refer to them, we say they, and I want to say there was a guy that sort of that came out front and put these posts out that we're saying were lies at this point. Do you remember his name?
Yeah, dude. Hey, he just his name's Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy.
You don't have a last name. We just call him Jeremy. J-Dog.
It's Jeremy, dude. J-Dog. Yeah. J-Dog's really, like, you know, turning up the heat over here.
I feel
getting everyone lit.
I feel like we're sort of dealing with the multi-headed snake at this point. Like, people are talking about Snail Games, and people are talking about Wildcard Studios, and they're talking about, you know, these individuals, and I think that's why we're getting this mixed message and everything. And you're kind of interpreting it as them not being truthful, but I bet it's misunderstandings amongst themselves, you know, of exactly what's going on, and nobody wants to be the one, you know, going under the bus and saying it's you know, it's the taming team that, you know, is screwed this up, or it's the marketing team that screwed this up. You know, I know when it starts looking bad, it's real easy to point blame, you know, other places, and I think we need a clear leader here to take the reins and say, like, here's what we're going to do, and here's why, and, you know, if you want to come with us, don't, and if you do, and if you feel like this is unfair, then we understand. You know, you can vote with your dollar, and you know, we'll just try to see what's there at the end of the day. Hopefully our product is so good that it changes your mind, but we understand, and we can't do that. We're not doing this for our health. Like, you know, we love video games, but at the end of the day, we are a company that has to make money. The servers don't run themselves.
Well, that is health. That's company health. And if they F this up, they're going to implode.
I would agree.
In my opinion, after looking at what they got out there, the other games, the player bases, their whole stock market situation right now, Snail Games, which isn't looking good. Yeah, man, they really got to nail this one, and that's facts.
That is the facts. That's the bottom line right there. So, what do you picture, like, the people that are working on this right now? Like, let's just say, like, what are they doing? Like I picture like these cubicles and everyone's playing video games, essentially, like with, you know, on consoles with controllers in their hand, but something tells me that's not what it's like. Like, I think that speaks to like how little, like when I say like, how am I qualified to talk about this? Like, even though like we, you know a lot about video games, like we're on a video game podcast, but as far as like what, you know, the head guy is doing today at Wildcard, like, I don't know. Like I shouldn't be making his schedule. I don't think. Like, what do you think they're doing to make this game? Like, are they sitting?
I don't know, man. What kind of question is that?
Well, I think it really struck home to me when
we've gone past the hour 15-minute mark. We're running out of questions. We should wrap this one up, dude.
The Chuck point here.
You're going way too meta.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just like when Newblitz said something to the effect of, we've been working on this for years and we don't have any artwork to show you or anything that's worth showing you yet. And I thought to myself,
dude, they're just freaking jerking off over
what
there, man.
In the crap are they doing? And
you know,
and so I tried to picture, you know, them working on it and how that could go awry, and you know, like I don't even know what does it involve.
What you're saying right there is just another angle of what I was saying, is like, how are they messing this up? They've got this thing that's near perfect. Why not just, like, who is the decision maker that's like, you know, what are they doing? Are they twiddling their thumbs? You know, are they just disappearing into the bathroom for 30 minutes with their iPhones, you know, watching, you know, I don't know, like someone's,
they're in, yeah.
And you're right. It's impossible for us to know as people that are not involved in that world. You know, we're not game designers, developers. We're not, you know, tech geniuses. We're just, you know, good old fashioned regular gamers that have just been gaming for a really long time and have experienced all kinds of games and gaming platforms, and we got something to say about it. But beyond that, we're not you know,
software engineer,
masters of the topics. Yeah, we're not, you know. So I think our perspective comes from the perspective of the gamer, just period. You know, of the consumer, as of the passionate player of these games, that, you know, that we're always going to be there, ready to pull the trigger and continue our fun.
Yeah,
because we get, as gamers, we get something out of these games. We get experiences, we get memories, we get good times, shared moments. You know, everyone's different, but those are some of the things that I get out of these games, and I value them. You know, they're part of my balance, they're part of my recreation. So my opinions come from the perspective of someone in that situation. You know, and in a way, depending on how you look at it, our opinions as gamers and our listeners' opinions as gamers with the games that they enjoy, hell, man, and from some angle, our opinion is probably the most important one. You know, even though it's maybe not an educated opinion, or we don't know all the finer details of these things, but we do know the bottom line of you know, the quid pro quo. Like, hey, I'm paying you for this thing. Hook it up, make it good. Yeah. You know, and that's part of the whole. I mean, we don't want to go down too many rabbit holes, but that's the whole part of the dynamic of competitiveness and, you know, we can keep going on and on and on. You know, like you said, there's a lot of things out there that we can go and play. So
yeah, we're in capitalism is a free market.
Yeah. Yeah. So I look at it from that angle. Don't screw us. Give us what we paid for. And if you want to keep us, make it good.
I agree.
Listo.
I do think there is a point where we need to stay in our lane, but that is our lane. And
our lane is the lane that we're coming from.
Yeah. You know, so, but, well, I guess like sort of a comprehensive, you know, sort of what conclusions can we draw? Like what bigger picture can we see from this as far as like how, you know, like not just Ark, but other games. I think this is going to be sort of talked about as a money grab and a greed sort of thing. Like, is there anything we can do as consumers in our lane to prevent this in the future? Talk about it. Yeah.
That's it, man. We should wrap this one up because I want to go hit up the beach, man. It's spring break 2023,
that's kind of
baby.
where I was going with that. Like that seems like a good way to wrap it up. You know, just like what are the lessons learned from here? And for me, it's like once you make a roadmap, stick with it as best you can. And even if you start taking a bunch of flack, like stick with your plan and execute it. Don't mess up something that you already have to like there's, what is that saying? It's like two birds, or one bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Like it's like the Ark 2 is the two in the bush at this point, you know, and we should really hold on to the one that we've got and make it as best and take care of the people that have taken care of you by buying your game, and, you know, move forward from there. I think is sort of a lesson from there. And then, you know, leadership, like I said, like maybe pick a real clear leader, have an information officer that puts these, you know, this information out, and have it very controlled and have some integrity about it. You know?
I think that's it. Integrity and transparency, man. Because at the end of the day, it's a product. I mean, when you really, really just boil it down, it's a product, and it should be their vision to deliver the best product possible to us. And to be able to do that, they need to have a good, and this goes with any developer, I suppose, or any company, but of course we're talking about Wildcard and Snail and all that. They need to have their shit together internally to be able to deliver that solid product, right? It's like, I don't know, this probably isn't a good comparison, but like they say that, you know, how are you going to be in a good partner in a relationship with someone if you're not yourself, you know, solid and on the lockdown? You know what I mean? You got to be solid yourself. You got to have your shit together, ideally, before you can go and, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like a similar complex. Like if they want to be able to keep everything good and solid with their base, which is us, they need to internally have their shit together. Otherwise, it's just going to keep breaking down, I think. But yeah, man, my hope is that they'll pull it all together and get Ark Ascended out there for free as soon as possible to the people that already own Ark Survival Evolved. Anyone not in the loop will be able to buy that for, it looks like $60 with all the DLCs included. If that's the case, I definitely recommend you should get it, everyone. It's an amazing game. It's amazing with all capital letters. And so I don't know, maybe someday, Chuck, we can have like a more positive, fun, laughter-filled like episode on Ark with all the good times and stuff, and share that with everyone, because it really is something else. And well, hopefully Ark 2 will, I don't know.
It'll be Ark
release 2 someday
for PlayStation 6.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. But anyways,
yeah,
I think that's a wrap on this one, man. Hey, we really hope you enjoy these episodes. This one was a little bit different, but I know Chuck wanted to talk about this, and after watching the video he sent me, I definitely wanted to talk with him about it and share it with all of you. Check us out on the interwebs. We're all over the place. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok. We're on Reddit. And it's mostly NWG Podcast, which stands for New Wave Gaming. That's our handle, NWG Podcast. You can also write us an email if you want, ovoxandchuk@gmail.com. That's ovoxandchuk@gmail.com. What else, Chuck? Am I missing anything, man?
Well, people be nice on there. Did you see, like I asked the question, what's something that gamers do
Oh,
well
dude, that's
besides
such a
gaming?
random question.
Someone
When
said
I saw
your
that,
mom.
I was like, what? Well, yeah, dude, it's such a weird question to ask. Like, why would you ask
That was you, wasn't it? That was you that said that about my mom.
No, dude. And don't take, it's like Rogan always says, man, don't read the comments, or anyways, comments like that. But I mean, dude, you kind of you set that up.
Set it up. You're right.
You set it up yourself,
You're right.
dude.
I liked the comment. I liked it.
I should write something worse than that on there. In fact, I'm gonna go onto my personal Facebook and write something on there. Oh, hey.
Don't forget my mom's on Facebook, so I don't think I want to tag her in it. Like, you might not like what you get. I've took a whooping or two.
No, dude. I would never talk down on Mama, man. No, but hey, also, drop us a rating on the old Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. That would be super helpful. It gets us out there to more listeners. And you can count on us being back here for another episode in about 2 weeks. And we love the hell out of you.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, everybody have a good couple weeks.
Hell yeah, man. Hey, happy Easter to you and to all the listeners out there. Feliz Semana Santa.
Hope the Easter Bunny brings you something good.
Oh, me too, man. Be safe out there, Chuck. All right. Thanks, everyone.